You're watching Pittsburgh Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey. Minicamp is underway for Pittsburgh. We've got some fairly noteworthy items on both Najee Harris and Diontae Johnson. But before we get to that one, we have our question of the day for you guys here. Speaking of running backs, who is the better all-time back in Steelers history? If you think it's Jerome Bettis, type in bus. If you think it's Franco Harris, type in FH. Can really argue no wrong answer. I have a preference, but I want to hear from you guys. Bus or FH in the comments section. We'll stick with our running back theme here early on. Is Najee Harris in line for a lighter workload this year for Pittsburgh? Harris said the team has talked to him about reducing his workload and his snap counts, etc. Now, Harris last year, as we'll get into more in depth, led the NFL in snaps at the running back position by a pretty massive margin. And Pittsburgh, behind Harris, is not overall in great shape. Here's what Harris said today at Minicamp. We're doing that a lot this year. I'm going to be on the field a lot, but on certain downs, I'm not going to be on the field. But we're still going to talk about that because I do want to play a lot. Of course, I want to be out there anytime I can, but at the same time, it's all about being smart. I can understand where they're going from there. In 2021, behind a pretty objectively speaking not great offensive line, Najee Harris had 307 carries. He was the definition of a workhorse back. Now Pittsburgh is trying to lighten the load that Harris has to carry and deal with, and hopefully boost his efficiency a little bit as well. Ideally, more yards on fewer carries for Najee Harris. The issue the Steelers could face here, and it's a big reason why Harris had such a massive snap count last year, not great options behind Najee Harris. There's Benny Snell, who has been, he's been Benny Snell. Anthony McFarland's been a pretty decent disappointment so far in his NFL career. You got Trey Edmonds and UDFA's Theo Durant and Jalen Warren, who are totally unproven at this point. Harris had a whopping 83.5% of the Steelers' snap counts last year. So 83.5% of their snaps on offense, Harris was out there. Benny Snell was second with under 9.4%. That is an abnormally high number, as we'll show you in a little bit. So with that in mind, we'll spend some more time on this, I promise you, but I want to hear from you in the comments section. Should the Steelers lighten Najee Harris' workload a little bit this year? Don't put him out there for so many snaps. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. While the ad plays, head down there, type in Y for yes or N for no. I am fine with lightening the workload, but it will still be a big workload for Harris, a big load for him to handle in Pittsburgh. To put it in perspective, the highest running back snap counts last year and across the entire NFL. Najee Harris, 83.5%. Second highest was Jonathan Taylor at 68.9. That is a startlingly large gap. Now, yes, Taylor had Nyheim Hines, Zeke Elliott has Tony Pollard, Joe Mixon has Samaje Perine, and Austin Ekeler has guys you've heard of, but you could reduce Harris's snap count by 10% and still have him be the highest usage running back in the entire NFL. I think in an ideal world, you do reduce that workload, if only because games get out of hand and you're able to buy him some time and rest him later on in games. That's the ideal outcome. So I am totally down to lighten the workload a little bit for Harris, especially if the touches don't drastically change either. Speaking of Harris, he once again spoke with the media. There was the initial report we talked about a couple of weeks ago or days ago, whatever it was, that Harris had added weight, and he has once again clarified that. Quote, I was 242 last year, and now I'm 244. But you're always heavier in this than you are during the season. I'm going to play at 242. Tell Jerome, that's the homie, but y'all are making it seem like I'm fat as hell. Najee Harris did not like he gained 10 pounds because his listed weight was in the 230s and in the 240s, but he looks pretty great out there. I don't think anyone should be worried about Najee Harris at all. I am expecting a massive season and a bigger year than what he had last year. If you agree with me, Show it by liking the video right now if you think Harris is going to ball out this season. While you're in the comments down there, click this link, chatsports.com/terrible-towel. Are you even a true Steelers fan if you don't own a terrible towel? Producer Jeremy says, maybe, maybe not. So if you don't have one, or if you want a new one because, it's a towel, they tend to get a little bit dirty and whatnot, get yours today, officially licensed one at chatsports.com/terrible-towel. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of today's video. Diontae Johnson is present at Minicamp, He is looking for a potentially massive new contract from the Steelers. And what does complicate this situation, and Johnson has confirmed he's aware of it, the cost of wide receivers has skyrocketed this past year, in large part to a bunch of maybe not the best players getting big-time money. Here's what Diontae Johnson had to say. It's not like you don't see it. A bell rings in your head. Such and such got this, such and such got that. I try not to look at it what you call pocket watching or stuff like that. But he is aware of it. And the highest-paid receivers are making a ton of money. What was just a few years ago, quarterback money. But the salary cap goes up. Tyreek Hill got 30, and Devontae Adams got 28. Hopkins, 27.5. What's noteworthy, by the way, all 5 of these players, Hill, Adams, Hopkins, Brown, and Diggs, all got their deals after a trade. And those teams either couldn't, didn't want to, or in Adams' case, wanted out, didn't want to be a big part of those teams. Currently, they didn't want to pay him. The next 5, meanwhile, is all right around the $20 million per year mark. Then you've got guys like Christian Kirk makes $18 million per year. And Diontae Johnson, I think objectively and subjectively speaking, is a better wide receiver than Christian Kirk. You can make an argument he's better than some of the names of the $20 million per year tag. So it's tricky. Do you want to throw $18 to $20 million at Diontae Johnson? It's a tough conversation to have. So I want to hear from you. What is the most per year that you would be okay paying Diontae Johnson? Sound off for me in the comments section. Johnson, I think, maybe under the radar, had one of the quieter 1,000-yard seasons last year. Yeah, drops have been a problem before, but this is exactly what you want your day 2 draft picks to do. Good impact in year 1, big step forward in year 2, bigger step in year 3, upward arc. You want to pay those types of guys. Could Pittsburgh wait for Johnson? Yes. And at this point, maybe waiting does make sense because I'm not sure how much drastically more the market is going to end up changing. Johnson had this quote as well. I want to be here. I'm patient. My agent is going to do what he does about that situation. I am not trying to focus on that. Johnson's at Minicamp. He's here. It is maybe not full-fledged distraction, but it is something to be aware of. I'm glad he's at Minicamp. But for him, too, because, fines of almost $100,000, not smart as far as I'm concerned. But it does remain to be seen if/when the Steelers do work out a long-term deal with Diontae Johnson. So what do you think ends up happening there? Will the Steelers pay Diontae Johnson? Type in D for deal, they'll get that done, or ND for no deal, they will not. If and when the Steelers pay Johnson, you better believe we'll break it down. We are inside of 140 subscribers, hitting the 14,000 mark. So if you haven't already and you want more free daily Steelers videos, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. We'll also keep you guys covered on training camp. It is just around the corner. The official dates have now been announced for Pittsburgh. A big gap between the end of minicamp and training camp. Steelers training camp dates are as follows. July 27th to the 30th, August 1st to the 6th, August 8th to the 11th, August 15th to the 18th, and as all teams do, there are preseason games that kind of bleed into the training camp there. Here are the 3 dates and times, and a national game as well. Versus Seattle, August 13th, 7 p.m. That is going to be a local-only TV game, or if you know how to stream it properly, wink, wink. August 20th at Jacksonville, also 7 p.m. Then August 28th, a nationally televised game, Steelers and the Lions on CBS for the preseason. So if you're a Steelers fan living outside of Pittsburgh and or don't do the streams that I'm sure nobody ever does, right? Yeah, of course. You can watch that game on CBS. One last note before we go. This is a rare chance to type in BJ in the comment section. BJ Finney has announced he is medically retiring from the NFL. A former Steeler who played for the team twice, 2 different stints, most recently last year. He's calling it a career, so show some support for BJ Finney by typing in BJ in the comment section.